As Wandavision was airing, speculation about a cameo at the end of the show was all over the internet. There were all sorts of theories, but the most prominent one was for Doctor Strange to show up. It made sense given the amount of magic being thrown around, sparking theories and memes. Turns out, there was a planned Doctor Strange cameo, and Marvel scrapped it. But why? This is Exasperated Nerd Explains. In a recent interview, Kevin Feige confirmed that originally the commercial showing up in the series was Doctor Strange attempting to break into Wanda's world and remind her of her past. An appearance was negotiated for Benedict Cumberbatch to appear in the finale, and apparently it was going to play directly into the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness film. In the interview, Feige says, "Some people might say, oh, it would have been so cool to see Doctor Strange, but it would have taken away from Wanda, which is what we didn't want to do. We didn't want the end of the show to be commoditized to go to the next movie. Here's the white guy, let me show you how power works." What? Look, Feige obviously knows what he's doing, but I feel more and more some of the threads are getting away from him. You could still integrate a Strange cameo, but not have him be the one to come and save the day, or commodify the ending into just being a preview of the next thing, which I could point out they have done time and time again anyways. Still, it could serve as a conclusion to the story without taking anything away from Wanda. He could have just showed up when the reality bubble faded away and stood outside the home saying, "I was hoping you'd make the right decision," or he could teach her greater control of her power if she comes with him. It's not hard. You should be focused on two things: if it makes sense for the character, and if it makes sense for the world you have built. The Sorcerer Supreme, who interfered when Thor and Loki just set foot on Earth, would 100% be involved when a giant reality-altering magical field popped up and kept a town hostage. Agatha Harkness was there in like 5 minutes. It would be a dereliction of duty for Strange to not interfere. As a creator, you should be beholden to the character and your world. There should not be a third thing hanging on there being like, yeah, but is it a white man? I mean, he's your character. He's a hero. Of course he would react to this and act heroically. And you don't want him to show Wanda how her power works? That's what she is trying to do at the end of the series, and he's the Sorcerer Supreme. He should have more knowledge about magic than anyone else in the entire dimension. So yes, he should be able to teach her a thing or two about magic. Besides, you still have that same scene in the show, but with Agatha Harkness explaining everything instead.
The Scarlet Witch is not born, she is forged. She has no coven, no need for incantation. Your power exceeds that of the Sorcerer Supreme.
But that's okay, because it's a woman. Turns out you can't have a man explain something because you're afraid it's going to be mansplaining? That's ridiculous, and you are limiting your stories out of idiocy. And here I thought they recast the Ancient One as a woman so Disney could bend the knee to Chinese overlords and not have a Tibetan monk in a prominent, positive role. Turns out men just aren't allowed to explain things anymore. Remember that scene where Natasha woman-splained who the Winter Soldier was to Steve Rogers?
I know who killed Fury.
Gah! Offensive. Okay, real talk here. Complaining about mansplaining and being worried about it is very stupid. I know people like to think it's a thing, but it's really not. Shocking as it may seem, I'm a man. And I've been in countless situations where people try explaining something to me when I already know it, and sometimes probably know more than the one trying to explain it to me. The popular perception that this is a phenomenon only experienced by women from men, and it's an oh so terrible thing, is foolish. And look, sometimes it may be a guy being a jerk, thinking a woman couldn't possibly know something or be an expert in a certain field, which is someone being a jerk. In reality, most of the time when someone thinks someone is mansplaining is because people like to feel knowledgeable, important, and yes, even want to help others learn something, and they feel a pride from teaching someone something. To then cast any explanation or teaching moment from a man to a woman as a patriarchal tyranny inflicted upon them is absurd. And I cannot stress this enough, this concept is even more important when it comes to the medium of film and television. That is because audience goers are often kind of stupid. It's okay, I'm not talking about you, dear viewer, probably, and not just stupid, but also distracted or confused. That's not the entire reason, it's just that movies and TV shows that have concepts like, magic abilities, sci-fi tech, good and evil forces clashing, and just plot, often have exposition scenes or exposition dumps. These are the talkie scenes, which usually have people together in a room mansplaining to each other in various ways. These scenes serve several purposes, but the real focus is clarifying everything for the audience. They can establish where the characters are at, where they need to be, the plan they are about to undertake, the stakes of what is going on, and just general explanations about concepts that may be confusing. The best stories do this fluidly, making it feel like part of the story without bringing everything to a grinding halt around a dinner table. Or manage to make the scene fun in some other way. But any way you look at it, this is something that is often necessary to catch everyone up and establish what is going to happen next. To suddenly cripple yourself and say, well, you can't have white men be the ones explaining these things is foolish, petty, pointless, and unrealistic. The Avengers and the Marvel Universe should be emblematic of this. You have a group coming together, some with powers, some without, who each have something to bring to the table, who have different sets of knowledge from their counterparts. Heroes coming together to overcome something they could not do separately is what we want to see happen. Unfortunately, it appears that you cannot have your characters be heroic, successful, or capable if it means offending the sensibilities of some imaginary fan. This fear and the thought process behind it robbed the fans of what would have been a cool cameo. One that made sense with the world they have built over decades. Not having the cameo was a mistake, and I hope it is not a signal of more things to come, where they sacrifice the story and the possibilities of the world they have created at the altar of fear and foolishness. But maybe that's just me. Do you think a Doctor Strange cameo would have detracted from Wanda's journey? Or do you think it would have been a fun thing to see? Let me know in the comments. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content. Thanks for watching. Bye.